The Mandalorian is a hit with all ages, but chances are that only the adults in the audience will notice these nods, references, and details. From references to classic works of foreign cinema to Star Wars trivia, here are the things only adults notice in The Mandalorian. Although it takes place in a galaxy far, far away, the Star Wars franchise can be viewed as a study of spaghetti westerns and samurai movies. George Lucas has openly acknowledged the direct influence films like Akira Kurosawa's The Hidden Fortress and Sergio Leone's The Man with No Name trilogy had on his space cowboy stories. Likewise, Mandalorian creator Jon Favreau has also cited the two genres and directors as major sources of inspiration for his show. He's even been quoted as saying Din Djarin is a deconstructed version of Clint Eastwood's iconic Leone character. Another major Mando inspiration is the film series Lone Wolf and Cub, sometimes known as Shogun Assassin in the US. This classic story follows a disgraced shogun's executioner forced onto the path of an assassin who must take his young son with him. He pushes the little one around in a tricked out baby cart. Sound familiar? Although The Mandalorian pulls heavily from the somber tones of spaghetti westerns and samurai films, it has plenty of laugh-out-loud moments too, particularly ones poking fun at the Star Wars franchise itself. These sarcastic memes are all too familiar to mature fans, who have been dismantling all the irregularities and quirks of their beloved franchise for years. One of the more memorable of these tongue-in-cheek scenes occurs in Chapter 12, The Siege, while Mando, Greef Karga, Cara Dune, and the unnamed Mithril are infiltrating an old Imperial base on Navarro. The crew encourages the Mithril to walk out on a precarious ledge over lava to access some machinery controls, to which he replies that there's no guardrail. A stark lack of safety railings on Empire ships is something Star Wars fans have been joking about since the first film was released in 1977, and was most notably mocked in the Star Wars parody episode of Family Guy, Blue Harvest.
So anyway, I says forget the dental plan, forget sick leave, I just want a railing. You know, one railing, right here.
Another hilarious moment of self-deprecation in The Mandalorian happens during the cold open of Chapter 8, which shows two stormtroopers missing repeatedly while firing at a piece of scrap within close range. The scene's playing on the age-old trope of the notoriously bad blaster aim. For a guy who never shows his face, Din Djarin is a huge chick magnet. Younger viewers may not notice, but mature audiences will pick up on the fact that, excluding Cara Dune, the few non-Mandalorian females he's crossed paths with have either been instantly attracted to him or had some sort of romantic history with him. In Chapter 4, The Sanctuary, Din crosses paths with a young widow named Omera, who seems to want the warrior to settle down with her. Bad boy Mando also seems to have broken the heart of Xi'an, a knife-throwing Twi'lek he works with in Chapter 6, The Prisoner. She threatens to use her blades against him for whatever shenanigans he pulled on her in the past. Adults will likely appreciate the sheer irony of seeing comedian Bill Burr cast in a Star Wars-related role. Longtime fans of his podcast know that the snarky Bostonian has long riffed on the franchise, as he never forged a personal connection with the original trilogy when it was released in his youth. Burr stirred up controversy within the Star Wars fandom for remarks he made in 2015, declaring that when he did finally watch the original trilogy in his mid-20s, he wasn't impressed.
I read a quote that you had, this is a while back, I think you called Star Wars a cheesy self-help book put in outer space with Muppets.
Put in outer space, yeah.
To be fair, Bill makes fun of everyone and everything equally, even his beloved sports team. Still, it may seem curious that Jon Favreau would cast a devout Star Wars hater in The Mandalorian. As it turns out, Burr claims Favreau chose him precisely for this reason, stating he thought it would be funny. Gina Carano's background makes her the ideal candidate for playing Cara Dune, the most recent addition to Star Wars' collection of fierce brunette heroines. Before she started acting, Carano was a Muay Thai fighter who launched her career as one of the first mainstream female mixed martial artists, competing back when the sport started blowing up in the 2000s. After earning an MMA record of 7 wins, 1 loss, and 0 draws, Carano transitioned into acting in 2008 with the role of Natasha Volkova in EA's real-time strategy video game Command & Conquer: Red Alert 3. Her ability to perform her own stunts and make action look realistic on screen has kept her busy with various action roles since. Yet another influence bound to be missed by younger viewers can be seen in Chapter 9, The Marshal, in which Mando travels to the frontier town of Mos Pelgo on Tatooine, seeking out other Mandalorians to aid him on his quest. Mando gets sidetracked helping the Marshal destroy a local sand-dwelling monster that has been plaguing his town, known as a greater Krayt Dragon. Krayt Dragons are initially mentioned in Star Wars: A New Hope, when Obi-Wan Kenobi scares off a group of sand people attacking Luke Skywalker by imitating its eerie howl. A Krayt Dragon's bleached skeleton skeleton can also be glimpsed poking out of the Tatooine sand behind C-3PO early in the film. However, this terrifying beast's appearance in The Mandalorian references the 1990 sci-fi horror cult classic Tremors. In that movie, giant worm-like creatures called graboids lurk underground, waiting to strike their next victim when they least expect it. While innocent young minds go no further than admiring Grogu's cool powers and cuteness factor, adult minds can't help but wonder where Grogu came from. If he's not a clone, as has been implied in the show thus far, then he was spontaneously created like Anakin Skywalker. Or he was made the old-fashioned way. So far, the only other creatures encountered like Grogu in Star Wars have been Yoda and Yaddle. Could Grogu's existence explain the latter's sudden disappearance from the Jedi High Council? That all remains fan theory for now. But regardless of who sired the being formerly known as Baby Yoda, the twisted adult mind can't help but wonder how such creatures would accomplish procreation. Awkward it would be. Yes, a pleasant image it is not. Unless you know some kids with very strange and mature tastes, they likely missed a quick Mandalorian reference to the classic comedy Office Space. The film parodies all the negative aspects of toiling away at the dreaded 9-to-5 cube farm. From horrible bosses and wasting away in traffic, anyone who has ever worked a less than desirable job can relate to this movie. Office Space also makes fun of unnecessary corporate bureaucracy and paperwork, symbolized by the dreaded TPS reports in the film.
It's just we're putting new cover sheets on all the TPS reports before they go out now, so if you could go ahead and try to remember to do that from now on, that'd be great.
These reports seem to have made their way into the Star Wars universe, because Mayfeld mentions them in Chapter 15, The Believer. It's such a quick line and easy to miss.
Come on, let's go fill out those TPS reports so we can go recharge the power coil.
And you thought the Empire was evil before? Chapter 15 is loaded with Quentin Tarantino references. Mayfeld and Mando find themselves in a dangerous situation while posing as Empire personnel. An officer, Valen Hess, insists they join him for a drink. They risk exposing themselves while swapping small talk, but they can't break rank by refusing Hess's offer, so they agree. The suspenseful scene is reminiscent of the hair-raisingly intense bar scene in Inglourious Basterds. Both feature characters infiltrating enemy cultures while attempting to blend in as natives, and both situations soon explode into a violent catastrophe. Mando and Mayfeld's frolic at the Empire Bar might also remind an adult viewer of a scene from Django Unchained, when Dr. Schultz gives Calvin Candy a bullet rather than a requested handshake. Just like Schultz, Mayfeld is so overcome with loathing he can't help but pull the trigger, and thus puts his companion in grave danger. Also like Candy, Hess has a thick southern accent, and a sinister yet lackadaisical demeanor. A towering villain requires an actor of serious skill. Luckily, The Mandalorian's Valen Hess is played by a highly accomplished actor adults will likely recognize, Richard Brake. Brake succeeds in making his character absolutely hateful, but then as grown-ups know, he has a lot of experience in that department. Brake started his acting career in 1993, with a small part as a reporter in a British comedy drama TV series, Jeeves and Wooster. Since then, Brake has performed in dozens of projects and at least 30 films spanning all genres. One of his more memorable roles to date has also been one of his most brief. He was cast as a Night King in the 4th and 5th seasons of Game of Thrones. Check out one of our newest videos right here. Plus, even more Looper videos about your favorite shows are coming soon. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the bell so you don't miss a single one.